Hey everybody, what's going on? I hope you are doing awesome, and if not, we're going to do things to change that throughout this podcast episode. This is the Byte That Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for supporting us every single week. We're available in a bunch of different podcast platforms. Plenty to talk about today, including a brand new WWE show that has long been rumored about the Cruiserweights, but with the Raw Cruiserweight division, is this just a little bit too much? We're going to have a conversation about that. Plus, we got plenty of announcements, including a Dixie Carter-sized announcement about something that's going to be happening in 2017, not 2016, because that's this year. And remember, we are available every single Wednesday night. If you want to go one step further and enjoy a raw and uncut video version of the podcast, get exclusive behind-the-scenes updates, head on over to patreon.com/ByteThat. Support us and join the family. My name is Juan Velas. I am from San Juan, Puerto Rico. With me, Keith Poshik from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Ryan McNulty from Boston, Mass. We're not going to waste any time. We got announcement number one.
Are we getting into it?
Right now. It's happening right now. Because we're not going to waste anything.
Right now. Oh, yeah.
Announcement number one. We got a giveaway. When is it starting? Right now. What's it about? A little bit of everything, actually.
Yeah.
So what's happening here? There are these crates, which, Ryan, you just got your Slam crate, so maybe next week you talk about it on the podcast. I know you're going to do a video for the channel, but we came up with our own crate. We got the BT crate, the Byte That crate, which is a collection of different things that I've gotten over the time, and I think will be pretty cool to hand out. So without wasting any time, what are you going to be getting? You're going to be getting 1, 2, 3, 4 different wrestling DVDs, including DVDs from Ring of Honor. You're going to get a Team 3D, a.k.a. Dudley Boy's shoot interview. You're going to get a Dragon Gate USA DVD. You're going to get a DVD featuring Kevin Steen, which you may know as Kevin Owens. You're going to get, you love Total Divas. You love Total Bellas. How about a Brie Bella Funko Pop? It's going to be sent over directly to you. You're going to get some unopened packages. Brie mode initiated with 2 packages for WWE trading cards, a Shinsuke Nakamura inspired shirt that I got as part of one of the crates I get, size large, and you're going to get some more goodies, including a personalized Byte That item that you're not even going to know what it is until it's
it wouldn't
just
be
about
a BT crate without some BT items, right? So we got something real special in there for you.
So then the question, okay, this is cool. I really want it. How can I get it? It's easy. You go to bytethat.com. There's going to be an image on the slider. You're going to click it, and you get some different options. You get to watch a video. You get a point. You get to share the tweets, watch a video. You get to do a lot of different cool things to enter. So when does this end? Ends December 7th, because it's the holiday season. It's the time of giving.
And it's my birthday.
It's Keith's birthday.
Yeah.
But
so
you
can win on my birthday. I can't win this, but I can give out the gift of the BT crate on my birthday.
Keith, the problem is you're not going to get any cake, because if we bring cake to our houses, Ryan and I are going to have some delicious cake, but you're going to be out of it.
That's okay. Fatty don't need no more cake.
Okay.
I can accept this.
So the giveaway ends December 7th. Remember, Byte That. Byte with a Y, that.com. You get all the information. And if you have any more questions, just head on over to Twitter. I'd say that's a pretty good way to kick off a show, right?
Well, one quick thing. This is eligible for U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
Yes.
I should read the notes.
Debbie Downer here with the fine print.
Very important. We did some calculations.
For the bad news, but you know what? I will bear that responsibility. So we are sorry. We know we have a lot of love out in the international audience. It's only feasible for us to do US, Canada, Mexico.
Oh, and you also get an autographed Eugene picture. Completely forgot about that. Signed by Eugene himself. I got one. I got a duplicate, so we're going to give that to you.
It'd be a little weird if it was signed by somebody else, so I'm glad that it's signed
by me, because, well, why not? You get it. It's a Eugene picture, at least, so you get some of that. But that's announcement number one. We still got 2 more in this episode. And you know what else we got? We're going to talk about Hell in a Cell right now, because that did happen during the weekend. We were concerned about different things, including the whole triple main event. What the hell was that even? So that's where I sort of want to kick it off, which is, let's start it with maybe Ryan. Was the triple main event an actual triple main event? Do you guys think that three Hell in a Cell matches was too much, not enough, or just about right?
I think it's always going to be too much to have 3 Hell in a Cell matches, but the way that WWE handled it, I think, was about as graceful as you can handle it. Because they split up the cell matches enough, and you know what? Each one of them did actually feel different. There wasn't a ton of overlap in spots and things like that. So I think that they really managed their way through 3 Hell in a Cell matches about as good as you really can, especially in the PG era where Hell in a Cell is one of the few things I'll say where, you know what, that's something that was great in the Attitude Era that really can't be pulled off as good today. But most things aren't as dependent as Hell in a Cell is. So they really did, I think, the best they probably could do.
Exactly. All 3 matches felt unique. Like, none of them really tread the same ground. Like, Roman Rusev was its own more extreme thing. Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins was the overall better match. And then Sasha Banks and Charlotte kind of was what it was. But over the last couple of days, I've been really thinking to myself, what exactly is a Hell in a Cell match? Like, what makes it a good Hell in a Cell match? Because, yes, those matches were all good matches, but did any of them need to be Hell in a Cell matches? And I don't think that answer is yes. And then that got me wondering, what exactly is a good Hell in a Cell match these days? And I couldn't really come up with an answer for myself. So I was left wondering, does the Hell in a Cell still need to be around?
It's a good question, but maybe this will lead to some kind of answer. When you got to Sasha and Charlotte, you said it was what it was. Now, there were some botches, and it was the main event, which people weren't even thinking it was going to be the main event because, Mick Foley kind of retracted his statement about what it was going to be. When you see, they did do some things like Sasha can sell like hell. They did the powerbomb spot at the, with the announcer table, and
but even
I wasn't
that
a big
spot,
fan of some things there. But
the cell at the end of the day wasn't really a part of that spot. Like, yes, they were climbing up the side of it, but that powerbomb was a normal powerbomb. That wasn't even like, oh, crazy cell spot. It was just, oh, hey, Sasha climbed up a bit. She climbed a little too far up. It made the powerbomb look bad. She went through a table.
I think the thing about it is, I mean, what's left to do in a cell that hasn't already been done?
Nothing.
And without it being, the cell used to kind of represent this kind of bloodbath end of this bitter feud type of situation where these guys hated each other so much. Now we're locking them in a cage and just let, whoever walks out is the winner. And that kind of just Thunderdome mentality going on. But now where you kind of really have to dial it back, it ends up just being a no DQ match with a chain link fence.
Totally.
There's really not a ton you can do. The cell's way too tall to do any like crazy. I mean, they have the Shane McMahon spot, but clearly that's probably never going to happen again. But yeah, everything's been done really, and when you can't do the blood thing, then you're really just left with a glorified cage match that can use weapons.
Is it just about the spectacle then? I'm thinking when you go to a concert, right? It's
because it still sells tickets on the name value. I think that's entirely what it is.
Because, here's the thing. I went to a couple of concerts here in Puerto Rico. One of them was AC/DC. I love watching them. And, they did have all these fancy things out there. Honestly, I didn't even need all that stuff. I just want to listen to AC/DC. So maybe Hell in a Cell is kind of like, the cell is sort of the reason, the pull, the final pull for me to attend this live. But I would still enjoy the match regardless. And I think that the 3 matches you could easily enjoy regardless. Because even Sasha and Charlotte, they kind of did the powerbomb spot. But you could do something like that with a ladder, right? And the benefit is that you can then grab the ladder.
It probably would have looked better with a ladder.
Because you can move the ladder. You can choose different sizes of ladders. So I think that was really good overall. I know the match wasn't perfect, but It felt like a main event match. I think that WWE needs to analyze, okay, so the women weigh less, so the tables won't necessarily give out as well. Now, props to Charlotte. She definitely seemed like the ring veteran, adapting depending on what sort of was happening. Now, between the three matches, which one would you say was the best Hell in a Cell match of the night?
Easily Rollins and Kevin Owens by a long shot. For the women's match, I couldn't get over that powerbomb spot and how they basically took the Mick Foley route at the beginning. At least that's what I took away from it, where, they were doing the same thing when Mick Foley went off the cell, where Sasha was put on the stretcher being carried away, but nope, she's going to fight it through. And it called back to Mick Foley's original Hell in a Cell appearance, and it just didn't have the same weight, because you cannot compare the two spots that happened, and I never really got over that for the rest of the match, and it kind of killed me. But back to Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, I think just overall that was the best match, period. Really, it was the match that used the Hell in a Cell. They used it once with that or very effectively when Kevin Owens threw Seth Rollins to the ropes into the cell, and boy, did that look like that hurt. But yeah, overall the best match. Roman Rusev, Roman just took a little too much punishment.
Yeah, the Roman Rusev match just didn't. It was fine. It just didn't really do anything for me. I did really, really enjoy Rollins versus Owens, and a lot of people might think that probably deserved to be the main event because it really delivered on that main event caliber thing. But I still agree that it was the right call for the women to main event, just because, even though WWE is doing history for history's sake, it is still like the big match where everyone's like, what's going to happen? It has by far the most intrigue. So it did deserve to go on last, even if it maybe was not the best match on the card. I agree with Keith where I didn't really like the way that they did the whole Mick Foley angle with Sasha, especially because I feel like they'd just been really playing up the Sasha injury thing a lot. And also that they did that with Daniel Bryan like 2 years ago, the whole stretcher thing at WrestleMania 30. And I don't know, I feel like it's a little too soon to be pulling that out of the well already.
But even that was a little different because it was 2 matches in one night.
True. That being said, the match was pretty cool. I thought they utilized the cell. It was interesting with like Sasha doing the whole Spider-Man thing, and then the power bomb through the table wasn't really utilizing the cell that much because it was still kind of a regular power bomb. It's not like she kind of like threw her off the cage through the announce table, but it was cool. They did some outside the cell stuff, like fighting outside before the cell had fully come down. So I like that we got some outside the cell action. It was just kind of what everyone's talking about is the 2 blown table spots is what really just kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth. Like, yeah, they put in a good effort, and it's just like when you have the 1 blown table spot, you're like, fine, we can forgive it, whatever. But then when it ends with a blown table spot, it's just like, it's the last thing you're going to remember. So it really does take away from the match. And I really feel like, man, if Sasha had just angled the table a little bit more vertically, it would have been so much easier to break through. But because they had it, like, have you ever seen a table angled like that ever?
It was weird. It was really weird.
Because you just can't get enough force at that angle because you'd have to like completely pick them up and throw them to get a good break. And that's just not going to happen. So if she just committed to just angling that a little bit more, everything would have been fine. She could have just like speared her through the table, whipped her through the table, and it would have broke so easily. And it's just unfortunate it didn't work out that way. I know just in the midst of a match, maybe you don't have time to think about geometry and all this stuff, but man, if that table broke, it's like it goes up like a full point.
If there's anything,
so I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Am I the only person on this planet who is totally cool with the fact that Charlotte is women's champion again?
Oh, I'm perfectly okay with it. I'm happy with it.
I feel good. I was ecstatic that happened. I think that like looking back at it, I realized that Charlotte did more with the women's championship than Sasha has done, because the women's championship was just kind of stagnant. Like, oh, okay, then Sasha's got it, cool. But Charlotte did things with the title when she had it. And I'm happy that they're going back to it.
Here's the one thing that people need to realize about what I don't like about Sasha's character. And it makes sense that she lost. She is incredibly weak. If you look at her character is that, man, it's a miracle she even breathes. Like at the beginning of the match, not a lot happened, and that happened. You go back to all of the other matches, right, where she's been taken out of action, or the whole storyline
you know
is,
what she
oh
has?
my God, is she okay?
She has like the Sami Zayn syndrome where she's like dead in every single match, where it's like, I love Sami Zayn, but like there was so many NXT main events where Sami Zayn is just like this corpse that's somehow animated
yeah.
because he's just getting like annihilated. So I do feel the same way about Sasha, and maybe, I mean, it could be a thing where they don't have confidence in the durability of Sasha because she seems to get hurt and is really banged up a lot. And I think another big reason is there's some win streak, right, with Charlotte in pay-per-views. Like she hasn't, I don't know,
like
has she ever
12
lost?
wins or something
Has
like
she
that.
ever
12
lost
wins,
a
I believe.
pay-per-view match?
I don't think so. I think they said on Raw it was 13 championship wins or retainings. That's a weird word at pay-per-views.
And I think that's honestly the main reason. I think they want to build up this mystique with Charlotte.
WWE likes their records.
Yeah, they've kind of stumbled into this almost like the Undertaker streak, and they're like, oh, this could be our new thing. And maybe that's your big ticket thing for WrestleMania is Charlotte's undefeated at pay-per-views, and that
Plus,
can be the new thing to do.
I bet you money by the time Charlotte's career is over, she will be a 16-time women's champion.
Oh, that's a possibility.
Like her father.
And that's getting just a little too cute for me. If it ends at exactly 16, especially.
But she's the right person for this. Like, realistically, she's grown well into her character. I think she's far exceeded everybody else, including Bayley. I don't know if you guys saw Raw Talk. That's something that's not even in the agenda that we may have to get to with 205 Live and the other things happening, where she didn't really do that great of a job talking. So if it means that we get a solidified women's champion that can definitely go and is solid in the ring, I'm happy with it. Now, the thing I'm looking forward to is the woman, number one, they main evented Raw. They main evented a pay-per-view now, and now they main evented a Hell in a Cell match in that pay-per-view. So I'm hoping that we finally get off this train of there's not, after a Hell in a Cell match, unless you do a women's elimination chamber match, there's not a lot more that you can do. Because some of the other matches have been done to an extent. But, for example, people like Lita and et cetera have been involved in matches like that. But the Hell in a Cell has always been this man-driven thing. Now, I'm hoping that next time they main event, it's not because the women are main eventing, but because, they're just that damn good and they deserve it. Without this whole shenanigans about women's revolution. Because Sasha and Charlotte are good enough to do it by their own. They don't need this rebranding for all these things happening. But
yeah, they should main event because it's the biggest match on the card, not because it's like a charity case thing where they're just trying to make history or whatever. And you know what? Because of the match type, it was the biggest thing on the show and did deserve to go on last.
It really did. So we have quite a few things to cover, and this was an odd week, right? So we got Hell in a Cell. The next one is scheduled to be Survivor Series, but we do have our polls on Twitter every week, Byte That Cast, where we ask you guys directly what you thought about Raw and SmackDown. Just quickly comparing this week's Raw, the majority gave us 46% gave it a 2 out of 4. Our Pan out of 4 rating scale, only saying Raw was an okay show. 26% was the leading second thing. So not the most positive thing. And this week with SmackDown, definitely a little bit of everywhere, where 47% gave it 3 out of 4, saying it was great, and only 29% giving it a 4. And some of the comments that I was seeing on Twitter reflect that this was one of the weeks where you could maybe say Raw was maybe the better show or definitely an equal show, where the past couple of weeks we've definitely been on the SmackDown train. So I want to start the conversation there. Which show did you guys think was better this week?
I'll probably still give the edge to SmackDown, but Raw was not bad this week, and I actually found myself liking the majority of the show, so that's always a plus.
Yeah, Raw this week was watchable, which is for the 3 hours, which is a plus for Raw. But yeah, I kind of got to give the edge to SmackDown just because I'm so much in love with the SmackDown main event scene at this point. It will tip it over as long as that stays good.
Yeah, Raw getting a 2 out of 4 is kind of like a 3 out of 4, you know?
Yeah, we got to give it something there. It was a good show. You know, some good things happen. I like how they're finally being more direct about what's going to happen at Survivor Series with the teams. I love the build-up. I can have a whole podcast about Braun Strowman, how they're building him as such a force, and he's good at it. From sound to presence to ring to the way he's going about doing things. He's been
it's
excellent.
what I said weeks ago. Everybody pays to see the Truckosaurus destroy things.
Keith, come on, man. Let me enjoy this moment before he gets some of his very own rosebuds doing the gladiator thing. Come on, give me at least a solid month. At least, you know, the rest of 2016.
I'm on board with you. I want him to be as good as he is right now, and I want it to continue, but just saying,
knows
you know,
the
just
track
have him
record.
destroy things.
He knows WWE's track record.
Yeah.
So sad. But okay, so let's get to something else about Raw. We got Goldberg. So Goldberg last week was brought up. Goldberg sucks chance happened. I don't think WWE really expected that to happen. So this was their way to address it. Just have him come out. You know, he jackhammered Rusev. Some people were sort of nitpicky. Honestly, I thought it was okay. Like, I know they had like this awkward moment where I don't know what was supposed to happen. Didn't really happen, but they fixed it quickly. You know, he got on the microphone, did a good promo again, not as good as the first one he did when he came back. But as this is happening, which train? I'm not asking, keep in mind, I'm not asking who's going to win. I'm asking which team you're on, regardless of the outcome of the match between Lesnar and Goldberg.
I think I'm on Team Goldberg for the moment. I don't like the angle that Team Lesnar's going right now with this whole, my client doesn't like you guys chanting Goldberg. Since haven't you built Brock Lesnar up for years on the concept of Brock Lesnar don't give a single F about what anybody thinks? I had to censor myself there. So now all of a sudden he cares. It's very weird, but honestly, the fact that Goldberg picked Rusev up was good enough for me, because Rusev is roughly around the same size as Brock Lesnar, give or take a little bit, and that tells me that Brock Lesnar can pull off the jackhammer on Lesnar. So that whole segment was good enough for me. I enjoyed it, loved it.
Yeah, it was cool to see a jackhammer and a spear again. Heyman, of course, ate the spear, and that was didn't look fantastic, but hey, I mean, we all knew Paul Heyman was getting
He's
a
not
spear.
going to sell the best spear.
Yeah. I mean, it's Heyman, man. Yeah, no, it was just fun to see. I'm on Team Lesnar as far as who's going to win, and also the video package with Lesnar was hilarious, where he's just like, I don't give an F about his kids and all that stuff, because how do you not love... I mean, that every single thing for Lesnar should be those videos, because he just like goes off the rails every single time, and it's the funniest, most entertaining stuff ever, because you could tell how much he just doesn't care, and it's great. So I'm all for Lesnar in the buildup of this. Happy to see Goldberg back, but obviously Lesnar has to win this feud, because this is pretty much a one-off for Goldberg. Maybe he shows up at WrestleMania, but as far as WWE wins a lot more if Lesnar's winning than if Goldberg's winning, because they need to keep the mystique of Lesnar going.
That's really true. I'm just hoping that... Is this what they're going to be doing up until Survivor Series? This whole just sort of like Goldberg, Paul Heyman. I mean, now they speared Heyman, so is he out of action? Which I actually would not mind. If this whole thing was led to go down between just Lesnar and Goldberg, I think that's good, because then, Keith, you can pretty much get what you just talked about. We don't have Heyman to talk for Lesnar, so we're instead just going to get Lesnar unfiltered, maybe with Renee Young having a cup of tea or something like that. How many
weeks out are we from Survivor Series?
We're still a couple of weeks
3,
out.
4?
Yeah.
It's still a while.
I mean,
it's
here's
late
what
November.
you do. Are you kind of asking what the hell are they going to do from here?
Exactly.
It's easy, all right? Next week, neither of them appear, and you run a video package of their two careers. And if there's 2 weeks out, I don't know, maybe do one more Lesnar appearance. Final week contract signing that leads to a brawl. And then that's how you end the show. It ends with like the entire roster trivializing everybody else. And they split up. You know, they split the two of them. You do kind of like
Shades
the Undertaker.
of that Undertaker Brock Lesnar thing.
Exactly.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm still concerned about the match, but I guess there's not really much else we can talk about.
Oh, the match. I mean, it's either going to be passable or a train wreck.
Man, with those
it's
two
so
options,
sad that the biggest match of Survivor Series will be happy with passable.
Watch that we get this wrestling clinic between both of them, and people love the match. And this is like this
they
more
just
than makes
like
up for the WrestleMania 20 match.
And
like, real talk, if there is not a single wrestling hold in that match, I will be perfectly okay with that. Just have two giant men beat the crap out of each other, and we're good.
Okay, let's switch things up a little bit. I want to get your feedback about Jericho this week, because it's not on the agenda as well. Got to change this on the fly. But I love the lock it in reference, and the people love the lock it in reference. And goddamn, is Jericho being so good in 2016 now? He's been on fire, and we talked about that. But do you think that this is the right way to go between Kevin Owens and Jericho? Where I think with this week, you definitely felt like he's trying his hardest to build himself up as a service or as a favor for Kevin Owens when they eventually do whatever it is they're going to end up doing.
I think we're at a point where you know that that's eventually coming. You know eventually Jericho and KO are going to end up fighting each other, and it's just a matter of when. And they've been doing so good at teasing that, just these little things, like last week with the whole, is KO on the list? And now there's a little bit of tension left at the end of Raw this week. And as far as Jericho himself goes, once again, Jericho's doing great things. He's almost filled that slot of the New Day for me, in the way that I think that the New Day always used to evolve and make themselves better from week to week, constantly doing new things. Jericho's really taken that over when the New Day's starting to become like kind of stagnant, and Jericho's really just bared that flag and continues to do great new things every single week. I'm with you, Juan, with the whole lock it in, man, was the best. So good.
Yeah, at this point, Jericho is by far the most entertaining part of Raw. And clearly, he's still like trying to be heel, even though the crowd is really getting behind him now. So I think, he's still trying to be a heel, still trying to stay with Owens while they slowly take their time to get to the split and then the eventual, it has to be a babyface turn for Chris Jericho. And then they'll probably have a really long-running feud for the championship. So, maybe even Jericho gets a run with the title. But it's clear they're heading in that direction. But, we got Survivor Series. We got Survivor Series. The Seth Rollins-Owens feud might continue, maybe. I don't know. Hell in a Cell is sometimes a good way to conclude things. We don't really know what's going to happen with Rollins from here, though. So, yeah, I think it's still a ways away. And Survivor Series might be a good point, considering they're both going to be on the team, for more tension to kind of build.
Quick question. With SmackDown getting TLC, does that mean Raw doesn't have another pay-per-view till the Royal Rumble, not including Survivor Series?
Or are they moving Roadblock or something? Or is that SmackDown even?
That's a good question. We're going to have to do our research there about that, because honestly, I'm not sure about that. It would be good,
because the Rumble
ideally.
Seems like a great time for Jericho KO. Because,
it does.
That way that leaves Seth in the Royal Rumble, and that's who I think is going to win.
Maybe we get that. Hey, so something we didn't bring up in the Hell in a Cell discussion is that we actually got a new Cruiserweight champion. So, Brian Kendrick is the new Cruiserweight champion. He dethroned TJ Perkins. People haven't been 100% sold on him yet. I don't really get the deal. I was apparently the
only one who liked that match at the pay-per-view.
I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna say more. I'm just gonna say it was an enjoyable
It had
match.
storytelling. That's what I liked.
Yeah,
about
it did.
But was it good storytelling?
You
I
know
think
what?
it was a little too obvious.
For someone who thought the whole like lose for me thing was stupid, it actually turned my opinion around on it. Do I think it was absolutely fantastic? No, but it gave me something more than just a typical match, like a standard match. It had another angle to it, which I appreciated.
Which wasn't bad at all. So, you know, in Raw for the past 2 weeks, you've been getting these 6-man tag matches. Aside from this, if you can see, there's kind of like a faction pose happening between Lindsay Dorado, Cedric, and Rich Swann. Rich Swann, by the way, is my favorite part of Raw because whenever he wins, the face he makes directly to the screen of like, oh man, I just won. It makes me so happy. So we may get that twice. Because just today, and another benefit of moving the podcast to Wednesdays, WWE has officially announced yet another show to their lineup in the network called 205 Live. No, this is not some like deep, dark, underground documentary. This is simply the Cruiserweight
See, it sounds
Classic.
like something that's on MTV. Like,
Yeah.
hey, we're live in the 205.
We need to get Exhibit with like that, oh my God, Pimp My Ride intro. Those were horrible.
Yo, I heard you like cruiserweights. Well, we got cruiserweights on those cruiserweights.
We kind of do, because they're double dipping on them. We have the Cruiserweight division on Raw, which for so long they were going, yeah, this is happening exclusive to Raw, except now they have their own show every week after SmackDown, happening live after SmackDown. So just think about that, because some people were thinking, okay, so this is going to be pre-taped like the Classic. No, this is going live after SmackDown, which means that for people attending SmackDown live, like in person, the tapings are basically going to be about as long as Raw, because Raw is a 3-hour show. So you're getting that. And for people like myself that love Talking Smack, the good news is that Talking Smack is still there. The bad news is that it's moving until after 205 Live. So that means that on Raw, on Mondays, you get the 3-hour show with what I believe is going to be Raw Talks. Like, I honestly didn't pay attention to Raw Talks.
My perception was that they were just doing Raw Talk after pay-per-views, because at the end of Raw Talk, they said, we'll see you at Survivor Series.
I'm still not completely sold that that's going to be a long-term thing. So let's say, hypothetically, it's only 3 hours. No Raw Talk. Still, it's now 3 hours there. And now we get 2-hour show with SmackDown, which is a good show. Then we get an hour of 205 Live, and then the 30-ish minutes of Talking Smack. That doesn't even include NXT the day after. They're definitely getting there. I think that, first of all, I love the idea of 205 Live. I love the idea of, we've seen the Raw audience. They're not exactly reacting to the Cruiserweight guys, but I don't know if it's such a good idea to, hey, after SmackDown, we're going to give you this whole different format show with a lot of people that may leave after watching SmackDown. So I want to get your overall thoughts on it, because I know there's a lot of emotions, especially about time investment now.
So are the Cruiserweights staying on Raw and then 205 Live, or are the Cruiserweights going off Raw?
No, they're going to still be on Raw as a showcase.
So they're on Raw,
Yeah.
and then they're taping after SmackDown.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Because it's a different show. It's a different show.
I guess.
It's not SmackDown. Even
Yeah.
though the ticket probably says SmackDown.
I'm done,
True.
dude. I'm done with network content. I'm done with it. I'm 5 hours a week of wrestling. You know what? I love wrestling, but 5 hours a week is enough for me. And
Let me tell you the secret. Don't watch it live.
that's what I'm saying. Well, no,
It's so
not even
simple.
No, I'm just look. Maybe I'll watch the first episode just to see what it is, but I'm really just not gonna watch this. Maybe if the buzz gets real good about it, I'll check into it. And here's the thing. I don't have to watch it every week, right? I mean, if you want to watch it, it's on the network. God bless. Enjoy it. But I'm just kind of over this quantity over quality concept. And I listened to an interview with Freddie Prinze Jr., who used to write for WWE. And he says in an interview, like when he's trying to watch stand-up or something on a plane, Vince McMahon's like, why are you watching that? Why aren't you watching, we have Santino for that. Like that, Vince McMahon's vision for the network is for us to be watching something on the network every single day of the week. There's no doubt in my mind that is his goal. But the beauty of it is that you don't have to. Raw and SmackDown are easily the most, the thing you have to consume the most if you want to keep up with WWE. So this is, if people want to go more in depth with the cruiserweights, it's there for them. I'm just telling you guys that I'm at my limit for how much wrestling I want to consume right now.
It's okay. We're here for you.
But
yeah, we got pay-per-views practically every other week.
Right.
It's a lot.
Calm down. It's okay.
it's okay.
It's okay, buddy.
But if the WWE is trying to market a 24/7 content service with a live feed, how can you fault them for that?
How can I fault them? Because I think they're overselling the network. I think they're spending more money than they need to. Because they're not. It's not even like they're charging us any more money. I think they're actually wasting money. Okay, I would if the network
Girlfriend, if you're telling me that 205 Live is a waste of money, we need to have a talk.
From a business standpoint, I think it completely is. Think about
we don't
all
have the number. Come on, man. Come on.
No, just think about this,
You
right?
can't
Hold on.
say
Can
that.
you guys hear me out for 1 second? All right. So
Go for it.
all right, the network price has not gone up, but the roster has increased substantially. And okay, I think a ton of people would buy the network if it was just old content, pay-per-views, and NXT alone. I think the network would be about as popular as it is. But think about all the extra money you're spending to film all these other shows. All these extra appearances, you have to pay the wrestlers for that. Edge and Christian show, you got to pay Edge and Christian, anyone who appears on that. For all these shows, and you're piling on, but the network prices, sure, maybe you're getting more subscribers, but the actual price of the network hasn't gone up, yet you continue to spend money to film new things for it. When I really think people buy it for NXT, people buy it to watch the multiple pay-per-views every single month. Talking Smack's great. That's not too much extra to just, you're already at the building, you just film Talking
and you're
Smack.
already at the building for 205 Live, right? Your cameras are set up anyway. Like until you can say that with numbers, it's kind of hard, to really go down that road. But this gives them a platform from a content creation standpoint. This gives them a platform to further expose people, to further use the cruiserweights, because the cruiserweights on Raw have been a miss.
Yeah.
It's been all right at best. Going from the Cruiserweight Classic to Raw has not been good. If this gives them a step to kind of refine that magic they had with the Cruiserweight Classic, how can you fault that? It doesn't need to be this segment on Raw. It can be its own thing, and they have elements of what make the Cruiserweight Classic great, with commentary from Mauro Ranallo.
Same way of, you look at it like NXT, and when an NXT superstar comes to the main roster, where most of those people in the audience are not 100% familiar with the storylines that are going on in NXT. So you're going to have that gap in continuity anyway. And if it's not working on Raw, is it just doing more content going to help it?
By giving the matches time? I think absolutely.
See, here's my thoughts on it. If you look at something like Amazon, think about what Amazon was to what Amazon.com is now. Now you can do grocery shopping and they will deliver lettuce to you overnight. Somebody thought that was probably a stupid idea, but it's worked to the point where they're thinking of expanding to grocery stores across the nation. They're planning on doing that. When you look at GameFly, you can rent movies on GameFly. It's kind of like, what? But aren't they a game service? With WWE, we really got to keep in mind that they're sports entertainment, not wrestling. So everything that we're saying, like Ryan, what you're saying makes complete sense from a wrestling show standpoint, where if WWE is Raw and SmackDown, everything else has to complement Raw and SmackDown. And we're getting slowly to the point where Raw and SmackDown are just part of WWE. maybe Unfiltered, and non-jokingly, eventually can get a bigger audience. Total Bellas can lead to a reality show that is only for the network, right? So it truly does become entertainment where they can they do 10-year plan things for this, right? And the thing is, the three of us and most people listening for that matter probably aren't even in that 10-year plan. Their goal is, let's get the people that don't even know what the hell the WWE stands for. World Wrestling Entertainment. What is that? We're just sports entertainment. We're entertainment. I think that they're going to do stuff like that. And it's tough for us because as wrestling fans and primarily WWE fans, our train of thought is we got to watch Raw and SmackDown and whatever complements that. And there's going to come a point in time where we can't do it. Unless we quit our jobs, we can't do it. And it's okay. It's going to be in the network because Ryan, what you're saying right now is, people enjoy old content. The Cruiserweight Classic, you never saw it, right? In 10 years, that's going
to follow me for the rest of my life, apparently.
No, but here's the thing. In 10 years, that's going to be old content that at some point, you're going to click and watch. At some point, even if it's for 5 minutes, because it's in the network, and some part of your brain is going to say, fine, I finally got to do this thing because I've known Keith and Juan for over 20 years. I got to do it.
And they're still yelling at me.
And they're still yelling at you. And it's like by the 10th tournament by now. So it's tough because we're not part of the big picture. Most people that watch Raw or SmackDown Live right now are not part of the picture. They're trying to go for the audience of YouTube, who wants fast-paced wrestling, but don't watch Ring of Honor because it's not as accessible. Don't watch Dragon Gate USA because they live either by an online service or DVD purchases. When you get all that stuff in the network, it's what you said, it's $10. There have been reports about them maybe increasing the price for offline viewing. If they do that, I will easily upgrade because the idea of, okay, I may not watch this in a month, but if I'm in a place with low internet access, I know I can watch, I don't know, like Great American Bash 99, whatever, and it's on my phone downloaded, I'll do that. It's tough, right? Because this is not a conversation where 205 can be an awesome show, but you still won't watch it, but that's fine. It's just weird to think about.
All I'm saying is that I think that they need to stop concentrating on making a billion other shows. Because Raw and SmackDown ratings have gone up because it's actually relevant now. But Raw ratings are just declining year over year. So I think they should be spending more time trying to make their big shows better instead of making 1,000 other shows and just completely just oversaturating their content. And, they're spreading themselves too thin. And I think their big shows are suffering for it.
But even that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, even in the big picture, if we're talking big picture, those weeks where they suck, it doesn't matter. Yes, from a rating standpoint, I guess. But if SmackDown is better than Raw 1 week, we are going to talk about SmackDown 5 years from now, if we even end up talking about SmackDown. The things that we hate right now often get perceived as awesome 5 years, 10 years down the road. Look at things like the Ruthless Aggression era. You see comments now that, oh man, I miss the Ruthless Aggression era. At the time, we all hated it because it was the reign of Triple H's reign of terror. So from a long-term content standpoint, I don't really think it matters all that much.
Well, I think
the wheel's going to keep on turning.
If the audience continues to dwindle, I think that's what they need to worry about, because I think they are slowly losing an audience. But it's true. All wrestling, when you look back, is great because you can look at it in a highlight reel and you can pick out the best moments from every era. And when you put all the best moments of a 5-year span, it's going to look like the coolest thing ever.
But if they're upgrading revenue, if their main revenue source starts becoming the network, do those numbers matter? Because if you're turning people into network subscribers, that's where all your content is going, then you're creating that ecosystem that really just works.
Regardless if Raw or SmackDown are bad shows, they want more people. The network, the WWE Network, is apparently the 5th most subscribed subscription service. Sorry for being redundant. In a world where Netflix is number 1, that's insane. That a wrestling company is number 5 already. And keep in mind that most things that we've talked about that WWE has done are in 2016. The network's only 2 years old. Think about that. So imagine this conversation next year. We may not even talk about Raw or SmackDown because there may be so many different things on the network, or the whole hemisphere of WWE may change to the point where it's not, that's not how you really go about enjoying WWE.
Please don't have it be that way.
Hey, Vince McMahon.
We're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. We disagree on this show sometimes, believe it or not. It's not all hugs and kisses over here.
No, we just hate each other. No, we don't. But I'm glad we had this conversation. Oh, well, you hate Keith, right? Not me. Not me, Ryan. Fine. Okay, so you know what we're going to do? Announcement number 2, because we gotta smile a little bit after all that. Okay, what's happening this Saturday? We've been talking about it, building it up a couple of weeks. Saturday, November 5th, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, my wife and myself will be playing For the Kids as part of Extra Life, a 24-hour video game marathon happening live on Twitch. That's a platform where you can broadcast gameplay. We're going to be there with webcam, with games for PS1, PS2, PS4, arcade, PC, GameCube, and we're looking to raise funds for the San Jorge Children's Foundation in Puerto Rico. Ryan and Keith will be joining us at some point to play Overwatch and just hang out in the chat and on Skype and all that stuff, just having a good time. So remember, that is twitch.tv/PressPauseTV. If you're listening to us on YouTube, you're going to get a video notification about when we go live. For everybody else, social media, we're going to spam the hell out of you because this is not about us. We're looking to raise funds for children with cancer, with malformations, and I know a lot of people like Hayden Fox. I know some of our supporters are going to be joining us, as Keith just said, for the Eads. Whew, man, I'm still like getting over the previous conversation we had.
got heated. We got toasty in here.
It did. Whoopsie. So what else do we have happening? We have a video about where we play WWE Raw for Xbox up on the YouTube channel. This Friday, we actually took a Square Roundtable, or a question that we got on this podcast from Sam H., listener, supporter of the show, and we turned it into its very own roundtable about a hypothetical scenario of what would happen if the Attitude Era battled 2006 WWE in Survivor Series. Which people would that consist of, and who would ultimately win? And remember, for a lot of things, you can support us on Patreon. It's a platform where you can help us grow. We got a 12-hour gaming marathon, which we are less than 10 snapmares away. That's dollars. I just say snapmares. From doing a 12-hour wrestling video game marathon on Twitch. Remember, 24-hour marathon and maybe 12-1. Kind of crazy, but who's helping us make that happen, Rhino?
Well, who's helping us this week? We would like to thank Bo Segrist and Tony Meyer for supporting us on Patreon. Remember, you can go to patreon.com/Byte That, and for as little as $1, you can get some sweet rewards, including a uncut video footage of us doing the podcast. So it's a lot of cool perks. You can head over there to check that out.
Yes. And now we're back. I am still tired. I'm still thinking about the conversation from earlier. We haven't gotten to half the points we had on this week's episode, for that matter. So we're going to have to cut some stuff off. But the one thing that we really got to get to is the Survivor Series team so far. So we have 3 different matches. So for Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, the single competitors matches in this tag team bout. For Team Raw, we have Reigns, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, Braun Strowman, and TBA. Maybe slightly spoilerish, but WWE.com did post a picture, so maybe just skip a couple of seconds. I'm just going to throw the name and not mention it again. It could be Sami Zayn, based on a picture that was shared on the website. It could be Seth Rollins. We don't know yet. Team SmackDown, we got Randy Orton, Baron Corbin, which is a slightly odd choice for me, Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, and the world champion AJ Styles. The question, based on these teams, which one do you think definitely seems like the more solid bunch of the two?
I'm going to go with Team SmackDown. The Survivor Series team, all of them are turning out exactly how I wanted them to be. I was hoping so badly that there would be this dynamic of there's good guys and there's bad guys, and you know that both of them could just implode at any moment by somebody turning on somebody else, and it makes the match very interesting to watch. But overall, I'm more excited about Team SmackDown, just because I'm more excited about SmackDown as a product overall.
I'm pretty much cool with both teams equally because it actually is trying to be like the best of the best for both sides, where you actually have the champions represented along with a lot of the main event talent, and then you get a few kind of big strongman guys in there with Strowman and Corbin as kind of like the muscles to add to the team. So I think both teams are actually excellent choices so far. We'll have to see who ends up being the final piece of the Raw team. There's just one big thing that's missing from Survivor Series, because I think they're doing so many things right with this, with actually having the best of the best from each brand going against each other. But what is this for? What does it mean if you win? That is the huge thing. They're talking, oh, we want to do right by SmackDown. We want to fight for Team Blue, or we want to fight for Team Red. But what actually happens with who wins? You have 3 matches, so clearly one side has to win. Why is nothing on the line? That is just the huge void that is missing from this pay-per-view. They really should have added something, and we're several weeks away, and nobody has no idea what this means to win.
Yeah.
In my case, I'm kind of split. I like the build-up for Team Raw, but I think Team SmackDown is... I'm curious about the dynamic between Randy and Wyatt now that they have Randy and the Wyatt family. I still can't even really fathom
Randy
that.
Orton RKO's Bray Wyatt. We see it coming a mile away. End of story.
And what's going to happen between, Braun and Bray? Are they just going to face off? Or are they actually going to get physical? I'm not really sure, but I think it's going to be a solid match because there's a lot of different dynamics. I don't think that there's anybody in this match that can look weak, which is what I like. Remember when Mike Knox was in a Survivor Series match and Shawn Michaels didn't even know he was part of the match after he super kicked him?
Yeah, didn't he eliminate him in 20 seconds?
Exactly. And now we got Curt Hawkins for that at 5 seconds. But with this, I get the feeling that, okay, all of these guys are main eventers, with the exception of Baron Corbin. I mean, he's coming into his own, but I think it's going to be pretty solid. So we get to the women's side of things. So we have Team Raw, which is Charlotte, Bayley, Nia Jax, and TBA so far. That's the team. And then with SmackDown, we have Natalya as a coach with Nikki Bella, Naomi, Becky Lynch, Carmella, and Alexa Bliss. I think it shows the huge contrast between the build-up from what we've been talking about for weeks now, between how Raw is like a 3-woman show versus SmackDown, which tries to build up everybody. I mean, they even got a coach for the damn team, right?
Yeah, I mean, they once again, SmackDown finding a way to get everybody involved. So obviously the SmackDown team is the huge favorite in this one, just because everyone actually feels relevant.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. Like, everybody feels like, okay, yeah, they should totally be on that team, where Raw's like, okay, it's the Charlotte show with a little bit of Bayley and Nia Jax in there. They don't feel comparable at all.
Now, for myself, I still think that the SmackDown team definitely feels more solid. I love how next week they're building up this match between Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch on a SmackDown show. They've been building it up for weeks now. And this is not a pay-per-view. So that really does go to show how different they are about treating the women on SmackDown than Raw. We're going to save the tag teams for maybe a later episode since, we're still ways off. Anything can change. People can get injured. If history shows these things are
I just want to know how
that
match will go.
Jeez,
it seems like the craziest match.
People.
What?
I said, way to jinx people. Talk about injuries, man. We just got over an injury crisis. Let's take it easy.
Man, I can't help but be worried considering everything that's been happening, but I don't even know how that match is going to happen. Keith and I can even see the tag team match that happened at WrestleMania. Poor audience having to witness
10 people?
this. It's a little insane.
Is there room for 10 people on the apron?
I don't know.
Hopefully
it doesn't break. But the one thing I want to get is Is the Survivor Series hype happening? We've been talking about this for over 2 years. Every year, the question is, does Survivor Series feel like one of the top 4 pay-per-views, or is it just kind of, this is the pit stop before the Royal Rumble? With the brand split, is that
still the
changing
weakest?
For you? Yeah.
It's still by far the weakest. This is a step up, but like I said, if all they had to do, put something on the line. Though, I suggested before, hey, the winner, whoever wins 2 out of 3, right? The Royal Rumble is for that title, or the main event of WrestleMania is for the Smackdown title or whatever. So, a lot of the guys can look at it like, hey, if we win for our team, then that means if I win the Rumble, I get to be in the very last match of WrestleMania. Something, just anything. Put something on the line. That's
Boxes.
All I ask. And then all of a sudden Survivor Series is, it goes from a 6 to an 8.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone places from a couple of years ago when it was Big Show versus Randy Orton main eventing Survivor Series and nobody cared. But there's still a ways to go. I love the fact that they're doing things with the Survivor Series 5-on-5 matchup. But like Ryan said, there's just that one crucial piece missing to make it like a big pay-per-view. It's definitely still the weakest of the big 4, but I think we're going in the right direction.
Definitely. I think that after this year, it can become the annual. They have bragging rights, and I think instead of just having bragging rights, this is where
This is the one time a year where Raw and SmackDown go head to head.
I mean, what the hell? We have Dolph Ziggler challenging people from Raw for his championship, so just do that every year with Survivor Series, and then have the showcase match like Goldberg and Lesnar. You can shoehorn that type of match into one show, and it's fine because everybody else is busy in a way that makes sense because they're worried about brain warfare, not about necessarily storyline development, right? So I think that's a really good excuse.
For you, Juan, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes. No, bragging rights should have never existed because this is the true, this should be the true Raw versus SmackDown pay-per-view. And it seems, obviously they've figured that out and that's going to be the theme going forward. And I do like that Ziggler is doing the Raw versus SmackDown type of thing where we're going to get a singles match that is 2 people, from each brand going against each other.
Any speculation about who that could be?
Maybe Sami Zayn if he doesn't end up on one of the other teams.
Yeah,
it's a possibility.
I'm honestly not sure. Maybe Rusev because he's moving out of the Roman Reigns feud.
That would not be bad. I love Rusev as a champion.
He's not. I forgot he wasn't U.S. champ. I'm like, that's gonna get messy if two mid-card titles go to one show.
It would be insane. What would happen if he lost the title? But I don't think that's going to happen. But it's a nice bonus feature for the whole thing. Remember, everybody, we got the big announcement. The Dixie Carter sauce announcement hasn't happened yet. By the way, and I keep saying that a lot, but the TNA thing, we thought we were going to get clarification by this team. Yeah, by this week. Turns out they overruled the restraining order that Billy Corgan had, and honestly, there's not a lot else to talk about right now.
TNA got the foot on the ropes. It's still in the fight.
Billy Corgan might lose, and I don't know. It's not looking good. Still, I think TNA just lost their UK deal, so now they're not even going to be on TV in the UK. So it's
Fox
not looking
Sports
good.
Net. Yeah, go back to Fox Sports Net. Remember when TNA was online only?
Speaking from a fan perspective, when that news got announced and you saw all the tweets coming out from the TNA roster, just like all of the air was deflated out of them, it wasn't a very feel-good moment.
It's so weird that everybody's going, yes, please fire the former boss that's like holding us and chaining us and keeping us from growing. It's the oddest thing. Let's talk a little bit more about SmackDown. Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles. We got that with James Ellis by ringside. He was barred from ringside, but he still showed up. James Ellsworth.
It was her first day on the job. Was she in NXT?
She's been around in the different shows. I do want to clarify.
Yeah,
to pick my words a little bit better there, but
they made it seem like it was her first day on the job.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. I honestly can't exactly recall.
I feel bad for her. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, I do love how Dean Ambrose was like, Ellsworth, that's his name. Like, hey,
Yeah.
A little tough, right? Like learning on the job with AJ saying WW. I really don't. I'm not bringing this up because I mess up a lot. As somebody that's bilingual, sometimes I switch my words. I think sometimes in Spanish and English, but it always shows that you need to give WWE a lot more credit for when things don't go wrong, considering that most of this stuff, if not all of it now, main roster is live. That when mistakes like this happen, it's like, whoa, right? You know, human
Live
beings
TV is
make
not
mistakes.
easy, folks.
I mean, people
It's
mess
not.
up WWE all the time because it's a really hard thing to say fast.
Yeah.
WWE, like it gets messed up all. I mean, Michael Cole messes it up a lot.
Vladimir
so
Kozlov can say it.
The double E. Oh
Yeah.
God, I miss Vladimir Kozlov.
He's doing great. He looks badass, and he's like a stunt double in movies or something like that. But that's not really the question. Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, James Ellsworth, the whole odyssey of what are WWE doing with him? Are they doing too little, too much? Can AJ even get in his car without, the fire team pulling him into safety? So many things happening in SmackDown. The first thing, just quick thoughts about James Ellsworth getting involved the way he did, sort of redeeming the damage that he did the week before. Did you guys like that?
They keep managing to make James Ellsworth appearances awesome, and I think they did it again this week. Once again, it's something that could turn a dark corner any minute, but I think they totally pulled it off this week. And I'm excited to see him take the Ricardo Rodriguez-like bump in the TLC match between AJ and Dean Ambrose, because I think the most brutal spot of that match is going to happen to James Ellsworth, and it ain't going to be pretty, folks.
I thought it was hilarious when AJ pushed him over the announce table. But yeah, once again, I'm a little weary of, okay, they're gonna ride this ship until it crashes, essentially, with Ellsworth. But hey, I mean, people like the guy. Him and Ambrose do actually have a pretty good chemistry going, where Ellsworth is like this friend that Ambrose doesn't want to have, but kind of feels bad for him, so is letting him be friends with him. And it was also hilarious when he kicked him out of the building. It was like, any man with two hands can call an Uber and get home.
Oh, that was so
That was
good.
a beautiful line. So, and then Ellsworth just kind of, interfering, and he's got security chasing after him. They did a good job of adding a new, layer to it and making it entertaining. So they're doing good for now. I'm still a little hesitant at how much they want to go, how far they want to go with this. But, they announced AJ versus Ambrose in a TLC match at TLC in December. So they got a ways to go. So, I mean,
I was surprised by that announcement being so early. That's so not WWE.
Yeah, they used to be like, if the pay-per-view that's coming up hasn't happened yet, the next one doesn't exist. That was their mindset for a very long time.
It's not bad though. I kind of like it.
No,
Yeah,
it is kind of cool, especially with Survivor Series being a situation where there is no world title match. There is no universal title match. The fact that we're getting announcements ahead of time knowing, oh, well, we don't have to worry about it for Survivor Series, but we know it's coming up for TLC. It actually makes a lot of sense in this situation. So I can see why Ellsworth is around, because they got a lot of time to fill.
Okay. So because we have a lot of time between now and TLC, we're going to take a slight break from Dean and AJ, and we got to talk about Curt Hawkins. What was that?
Curt
building
Hawkins
this up.
just jobbed in 5 seconds.
Not even they can't even get his name right in the right. I usually say lower third, but it's on the right side of the screen. They added a G unnecessarily to his name. So poor guy. What the hell? What is the purpose of all this?
Poor Kurt, thinking he's coming back for another run in the WWE. Then that happens. Thanks for coming.
He faced the
Curt
facts.
Hawkins' career is over.
Fact. What else do you say after this? You lose in
There's
5
not
seconds.
really much. There's not really much to say. Like, where do you go from here besides
Curt
down?
Hawkins is gonna be a jobber until his contract runs out.
Fact. And that's it. I mean,
All right.
anything else? I'm trying to pull something from here, but
Feels bad, man.
I really do feel, I genuinely feel bad because for crying out loud, you've wasted a lot of time building this up. Now, maybe they can make up for it somehow, but honestly, that was bad. That was like kind of worse than 18 seconds with Sheamus and Bryan at WrestleMania bad. So hopefully they fix it.
13 seconds worse.
Ripping pepperonis, Curt Hawkins gimmick. It was great while it lasted, and it wasn't very long.
Go back to middle
use
of
the
it.
middle of it, right?
That's the thing. It's the theme, man.
Oh my god, it makes
just
sense.
they never gave it a chance. They never gave it a chance.
So let's talk about Randy Orton and the Wyatt family then. There's two parts because there's the in-ring portion, but that's the one that I don't mind sort of skipping out. I got to go about the Wyatt thing, like Wade Barrett, Brian. What?
Just
English.
roll through it.
Okay, so Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and then they have the mystical music with Bray, but then Randy is just wearing a hoodie backstage. And I can swear he's trying not to laugh because I'm just busting my ass off laughing because I can't take this seriously. It looks so out of character. If that's what they're trying to do, to just entertain us and sort of go tongue-in-cheek, this is happening, let's laugh a little bit, that's awesome. But otherwise, I don't know how else to see this.
I mean, I see it exactly like that, like kind of a wink and a nod, like, you know what's gonna happen, just ride it out.
Yeah, well, Randy Orton, he hears voices in his head, and they're playing that up. He's going to that dark place.
The devil's been in my ears.
He's going to a dark place that only he knows, except Bray Wyatt knows about it too. So that's intriguing.
I wonder if they have like a timeshare. They're like the shining stars of hell.
I was gonna say
they need a better pamphlet, apparently. I don't know, but Randy Orton got them laser eyes, apparently.
What the hell is that? What the hell? It wasn't even good effect. There are ways you can do that so it doesn't look like they post-process that.
They should have just
seconds.
went full, like, cheesy, like, tacked out, like they did with the lightning for The Undertaker.
Exactly.
They should just superimpose lasers, and then he laser beams, he like melts an ice cube or something. Everyone thought Super Cena, that John Cena was Superman the whole time. Maybe it was Randy Orton and we never knew it. Randy Orton is actually Superman.
Feels good, man.
Weird.
It's gonna suck when he eventually just turns on Bray, but the other thing is just weird seeing him do the greatness pose.
I thought he was gonna have the gas station onesie going. What the hell, man? He
needs at least to take pants in the ring.
Yeah, he needs to take Eric Rowan's place. He needs that gas station onesie. But no, the only other thing I want to say is that he looked so damn out of place when they were posing in the ring at the end.
Oh my god,
this just doesn't work. Orton is so clean cut, and he's.
But how great is Luke Harper doing the greatness pose? It makes me so happy.
So good, so good. Luke Harper makes everything great. I'm hoping they keep that for months or like till the Rumble. Just keep doing this and treat it completely serious because I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to hate on it. Even during SmackDown, I'm thinking this is ridiculous, but I can't look away. This is too good. I got to keep watching it.
I love Harper's jacket too, by the way. And
I
need to go as Luke Harper for Halloween next year. I missed the boat this year.
Start growing that beard now.
Yeah.
Could you grow that beard?
What?
Could you grow that beard?
Could I grow that beard? Hell no. I could try. I could not shave for an entire year, and I still would not have a beard nearly as epic as that. It would be pathetic in comparison.
Overall, though, it's been a pretty good week for SmackDown, I would say. And WWE as a whole, maybe SmackDown wasn't this 5-star classic that some people think is happening week to week, but it's been enjoyable. But now, there was that third announcement. 3 times the charm, some people do say. Dixie Carter sized. And we're going to announce it next week. No, okay, we're actually doing this right now. But I did the last 2 announcements. It kind of feels selfish for me to do this one.
It feels like a Keith announcement to me.
Yeah, Keith.
You want me to take the reins on this one?
The pressure's on you, buddy. It's quite the big announcement, so.
Are we ready for this? Are we braced? Are we on the edge of our seats?
Can you
All right.
handle this? You handle this?
Guys, we're going to WrestleMania! After 13 long
next year,
years of us being friends, we are finally getting together and going to the granddaddy of them all, Wrestle Freakin' Mania. And boy, am I excited. We're going to WrestleMania.
It's insane, yeah, because Keith and I have met, Ryan and I have met, the three of us have never met in 13 years.
And Ryan
in the same
ditched
location.
me when I tried to make plans with him.
Don't start this.
Ryan didn't watch the Cruiserweight Classic, didn't meet Keith.
Yeah.
He ditched me.
It's a long story, folks. Just don't worry about it.
So what's happening?
But it doesn't matter. Because WrestleMania, we're all going, and that means that we're going to have some awesome content for you guys, because not only we're going to WrestleMania, we're going to NXT, we'll be at the Raw after WrestleMania, so we are going to try and give you as much WrestleMania coverage as we possibly can while we're there, and we're excited for the three of us to have in-person content, because aside from a few short videos from a couple of years ago of me and Juan with in-person content, we never get to do that. So it's definitely going to be awesome, and I'm super excited for everything about this trip.
We need to do one video of the three of us just holding hands for like 20 minutes. Just we're talking wrestling. We don't even need to talk about wrestling, because real talk.
And we'll just sing "Lean on Me" the whole time.
Exactly. We can do
it
karaoke.
Seems relevant.
Karaoke.
We're just gonna have a good time.
Yeah, there will be at least one video of me schmammered, because that's probably what I'll do.
It will probably happen. The good thing is all phones have 1080p cameras at this day. So Keith, my phone's gonna be by my side. Yeah.
Yep.
But obviously, as time goes by, we'll give more information. We're super thrilled about this. We've been talking about this for months. This is something we brought up as a joke last year. Then we all kind of sat down and went like, okay.
It's like, this is like super not a joke and super a thing. And now it's like really a thing.
If any listeners are going to WrestleMania, make sure to let us know. Always cool if we can say hi to anyone. So definitely let us know if you're going too.
Yeah, exactly. We're thinking about possibilities. Obviously, time flies by fast, even though there are still months between now and WrestleMania. But, the podcast is going to be the place where you guys are going to know. Maybe that week the content is completely different. Maybe it's not even a podcast. Maybe we just sit down and talk about the experience, because we ultimately go back and cover Raw and SmackDown. But we want to make sure that week is, something unique for all of you that have been enjoying the podcast since day one. New listeners, you get to just sort of see us, because some people forget that we're not in the same location. If you only listen to us and you're like a new listener, you think we're in the same place. No, Keith is actually in Canada, I'm actually in Puerto Rico, and Ryan is somewhere in the US. So that's happening.
Yeah, I'm excited, guys. It's going to be fun.
Pool
It's gonna be a hell of a time.
It's going to get nasty.
Oh, we got to eat so much pizza. I'm just sitting here thinking about all the possibilities, and my God, we're going to gain a lot of weight.
When Juan and I went to WrestleMania,
oh my God, right?
We ate the most disgusting pizza on the face of the earth. And I mean disgusting in a good way. I think it had like 15 different toppings on it, because when I was ordering it, when I was ordering it, they're like, "Do you want this? Do you want that?" And I kept saying yes, and it ended up with like 15 toppings. So we have to break our record. We have to break our record.
Eating that pizza. Oh my God.
I'm picturing, right? I get that slice of pizza. I lift it up with one hand, and the whole thing, all the cheese and all the toppings just slide off.
You're super not far off. It was a two-handed pizza.
It took Keith like 3 days to eat it, to the point where we were staying in Miami. We were staying in Miami.
Yes.
We went from Miami to Orlando with the pizza. It was in the car.
You couldn't let it go. You couldn't let it go. Pizza needed to come with us. It was a part of us at that point.
And part of that pizza still came back to Orlando with us. And we kept eating it, and that thing was never in the fridge. So we never got food poisoning, because Keith's mom is a saint. Yeah.
With a lot of like meats and stuff just sitting out for that long.
Sometimes you gotta gamble it all, baby.
Live hard, die young, Keith says. So let's live by his philosophy. But yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Swig a pizza for the working man.
Hopefully, everybody's as happy to know this is happening as we are to announce and ultimately go there. Between that, the giveaway, and the Extra Life Marathon, a lot of awesome things are happening. But we still have your questions. Before that, end of year awards are happening. Over 6 hours of content are probably going to happen. So, and technically a fourth announcement there, but more details in the coming weeks. Keith, what do we got, man?
Well, we got a question to start off from the True Prince of Pro, who asks us, are you guys Jomo sapiens? And are you going to eat our lunch? So I'm assuming this is John Morrison.
Yes, it is. Because he's badass.
My answer is probably yes.
If the lunch had pizza, yes.
I'm going to give a half answer because I was a fan of John Morrison when I was watching, when he was like an ECW champion and stuff. I did miss kind of the tail end of his WWE run. What are you laughing about over there?
This is so weird. John Morrison, ECW champion, with that context is like the oddest thing to talk about.
But I didn't see the tail end of his WWE career because I took a break from WWE at the time, and then I know he's done a lot in Lucha Underground, but I haven't seen that either. And then what's this about lunch? I mean, I'll eat a lunch. I'm pretty hungry right now. Are you going to eat our lunch? Sure.
Yeah.
What is it?
Let
me know what it is.
Am I allowed to? Am I like stealing from somebody? Because I don't like stealing, but if the lunch is there, I'll eat it.
Unless it's pizza, which just eat it.
I will eat that.
Man, taking someone else's pizza, like stealing somebody else's pizza, is one of the shittiest things you can do as a human being. Like, imagine being excited for a piece of pizza.
Satisfying.
No, I wouldn't feel good about that. You're robbing somebody of pizza.
Well, now I know what to do. WrestleMania weekend. Steal Keith's pizza.
I feel like this is leading to a pizza eating competition between the three of us at WrestleMania weekend.
If you steal my pizza, sleep with one eye open. So our next question comes from
my pillow
Kissereth
for sure.
Studios, who asks, do you think Smackdown is a better show every week because they're taking cues from NXT, such as writing and progression? And yes, I think the answer is absolutely. SmackDown has evolved, Raw hasn't.
Yeah, we kind of touched on this a little bit last week where, they do have apparently the former NXT writer. They're taking time every week to sort of build up a different guy. Even little things like, maybe Curt Hawkins losing in 5 seconds was kind of crappy, but we got Ziggler saying, Raw, I challenge anybody in the roster for a title match. Those little things go a long way. Instead of cutting a 30-minute promo about blah, 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 just get to the point.
We're making history!
Yeah, SmackDown, this version of SmackDown is really the spiritual successor to NXT in everything that NXT did right with storytelling. And people actually are getting excited about SmackDown because of it. So storytelling really is the key, because you can look at Raw with all its star power and people are all still talking about SmackDown because it has the better storytelling. So if you want to look at what's most important for a wrestling show, there's your answer.
It goes to show that it doesn't matter how big of a star someone is, it's what you do with them that counts. And
exactly.
That's where SmackDown is killing it.
A movie with good stories or a Michael Bay movie. Raw is the Michael Bay movie. All the explosions, but no reason to care about it.
Who are the kind of racist ghetto transformers of Monday Night Raw? Let's not answer that question. Our next question comes from Kane Yo-Yo, who asks, and boy, I hope I get this word right, what's up with all the Kinesio tape in the WWE as of late this year?
So we've seen that with Cesaro. We've seen that with Rollins.
Bailey,
yeah. And apparently it's like miracle tape.
If it works, if it keeps people able to do their wrestling, then
I gotta get me some of that tape. If it's, you can just, I don't get it. You just put like a piece of tape on your body and it's supposed to help. I don't really
I feel
know.
like we need to do a PSA. So right now I'm at kinesiotaping.com. I'm just going to read this and we're all going to learn in this together. The kinesio taping method is a definitive rehabilitative taping technique that is designed to facilitate the body's natural healing process while providing support and stability to muscles and joints without restricting the body's range of motion, as well as providing extended soft tissue manipulation to prolong the benefits of manual therapy administered within the clinical setting. And then it says, based upon years of clinical use, the tape is specifically applied to the patient based upon their needs after evaluation. The findings of the clinical evaluation dictate the specifics of the tape application and other possible treatments or modalities. And apparently the shapes, the I, X shape, or the Ys, they determine sort of how the muscles are either stretched out or massaged in some kind of weird way. So, I mean, yeah, it's the same way where you can put, like, some Band-Aids have, like, antibiotic and stuff like that, right? So maybe to us it just looks like tape, but for them it's a cure. And honestly,
I mean, if somebody's working with, it may look ridiculous, but if somebody like Cesaro's working with a bum shoulder and it does good, why should we fault him for it? As a man that's working rehabilitating an injury right now, that stuff sounds amazing, and I want it in my life. So if it does help people like achieve their full potential in the ring, I see no problem with it.
I wonder if
I think it's just like a new thing.
Do you need it from like a doctor or something? Because hey, I mean,
I don't know.
Hypothetically, if we ever have something, it'd be cool to just put it all over your body. What if you just wear a suit of this? Do your body just
stimulate all the muscles?
I'm guessing it's pretty expensive. It's probably more than just a regular piece of like electrical tape that you just stick it on your body. I think it's just kind of this really new thing, and maybe even I'm sure other athletes are doing it, but they generally wear jerseys and uniforms, so you can't really see if they're using it or not. But in wrestling, it's going to be a lot more apparent because, you just see a lot more of a person, for better or for worse. But I was actually thinking about this with like Cesaro, like, man, he's been using that tape for a long time. Is this something he's just going to use for the rest of his career? Or is he really still just rehabbing that shoulder? It's in that rough shape. I'm not sure. Maybe it's kind of like how Austin kind of had the knee braces. He just always kind of had them. So, is this just something that helps Cesaro and it makes sense to just always use from now on? I don't really know. It's still a new kind of breakthrough thing in rehabilitation.
Yeah. But I mean, if it works, right? So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from TMK Tanner, who asks, with SmackDown being live now, do you think that the Raw after WrestleMania vibe will translate to SmackDown as well?
I think so. I know some of the WrestleMania packages are including SmackDown in it. So I think they want, because it's two separate brands now, they want to make the SmackDown after WrestleMania big for the SmackDown brand. So they're probably going to try and have some major things happening on both shows. Now WrestleMania weekend really gets extended out to Tuesdays.
And I know this question was sent in before the announcement of the Cruiserweight show, but it's not just Raw and SmackDown. Then you also have 205 Live, right? So it's technically 3 shows that can really benefit from this. So it's going to eventually become a WrestleMania week where it kind of starts at Thursday or Friday, but it leads till almost Wednesday or Tuesday the week after.
Why not extend it a month? Why not a year?
Yeah, why not?
Wrestling never ends anymore, right, guys? Just keep it going. Just keep it going.
Ryan, it's
never
okay.
stops.
It's okay,
it might as well
man.
be WrestleMania
Keep
now.
calm down. Do something, man.
Ryan, you're wrong. But yes, I totally, when we were looking at WrestleMania travel packages, I did not realize till then that, oh, wow, the SmackDown after WrestleMania is totally going to be a thing. Because it's this whole unique product from Raw, so you think that there's going to be the same type of big movements, big debuts on the SmackDown brand as well. Because why would they limit that stuff to Raw? They can keep the momentum going another night. And I think it absolutely will be a thing. And as it stands right now, I'm more excited than the SmackDown after WrestleMania opposed to the Raw one because we've never seen that before. They could do anything at that point. So thank you for the question. Our final question of the show comes from Gator Boy 1006.
He was a Gator boy. He said, "See you later, boy." Da-na-na.
Wow. That is the second time today that song got brought up in my life. It's been a weird day. But Gator Boy asks, what is your guys' favorite match from another wrestling promotion besides the WWE? So anything's fair game here that we've seen.
I have a pretty easy answer that I believe maybe you will share, Keith, but my answer is the triple threat match between Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, and AJ Styles from 2005. Oh, they had two different matches. It was from 2005. I can't remember the show right now.
It was the first one, right? You were talking about the first one. Yep, that is the greatest match of all time.
And just, if you don't know the details, like the last couple of minutes of that match, they had to ad-lib because they had to alter the finish and how they went about doing it. It was a perfect, I dare say perfect triple threat match that showed the potential that TNA had. And now two of those guys are WWE champions. Think about that.
Well, in recent memory, because I've been thinking about TNA, and I don't even remember if I actually saw that triple threat match because that was in the super early days of like kind of internet, and I couldn't get pay-per-views. So
Holy
you guys
Ryan.
got the pay-per-views, all right?
You're like the worst human being.
I couldn't afford the pay-per-views back then, and then just so many years go by and you haven't watched it.
I get that.
Yeah.
So what's your excuse for the last 10 years?
What's my excuse for the last 10 years? I totally forgot to go and watch it. That 2005, 6 TNA wasn't the first thing on my mind. I
Keith,
apologize.
I got some ideas for WrestleMania weekend that requires Ryan, duct tape, and a
We
goat.
don't have enough time. There's so much going on that weekend.
Oh, you don't
We'll
know.
make
You don't know
time.
what I'm thinking of. Like, yeah, it involves a goat.
You guys are making me forget my answer. Oh, I know that. Okay, I know there was. It's bad that I can't even recall the exact event, but I know one. You sent me a ROH video, like old video of Kenta versus
Low key.
Samoa Joe.
Oh, okay, Samoa Joe, because I
Versus
sent you
Samoa
a couple
Joe
of
that
ones. Yeah.
Yes, I don't remember which one it was, but that was one of my favorite matches.
It was with Kenta Kobashi,
outside of WWE.
not Kenta, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It was a really physical, solid match. They were chopping each other all over the place, like really stiff, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That match was awesome. From like around 2004, I believe.
Probably old school. There were also some great CM Punk Samoa Joe ROH matches that I watched as well.
Number 2 is clutch.
Yes. And then recent memory, hey, Final Deletion was one of the coolest things I've seen all year.
It's a solid answer. A couple things we got to check out, but the gang, hopefully this has been not just another podcast episode. This has been an experience of announcements. Remember, the giveaway ends on December 7th, and on that very day, we announce the winner on the podcast, so make sure you enter. Right now, throughout the episode, I've been filling in the different things so you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You get points. Even for this Saturday, Press Pause TV, where the Extra Life Marathon is going to be happening, if you head on over to ByteThat.com and you sign up for the giveaway, there's a thing in there where you get bonus points simply for following Press Pause and for following Byte That on Twitch. So with easy things like that, you can possibly win the BT crate. Hopefully you enjoy that. What else we got, Rhino, to close out the show?
Well, closing out, we just want to thank everyone for listening to another edition of this podcast. We got plenty more content over on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. If you're listening on iTunes, hey, there's a subscribe button too. Make sure to hit that if you have not already. This Friday, we've got footage of us playing Smackdown 1 for the PlayStation, so we do a little more oh wait, no. I messed that up. That is a coming soon type of thing.
Spoilers!
Ooh, spoilers! It is actually an SRT. Whoops, I'm getting a little mixed up.
Any of that.
Yes.
This is what happens when we argue on the podcast. We forget our cues. We all have. That's not you,
I didn't know.
That is all of
I
us.
made an oopsie. It is an SRT, right, of us talking about what if there was a Survivor Series match between the Attitude Era and the present day WWE. Definitely no Smackdown 1 gameplay. That's totally not going to happen.
Do that. It would be cool.
Oh, it would be awesome.
Right?
Man,
Maybe we'll create a guy and it'll be real cool.
Yeah, seriously. That is an awesome idea. I'm glad I thought of it. If you want to follow us on social media, Twitter's @Byte That Cast. One saying shut it down. Just I lose.
See you
But
next
if you
week.
want to go the extra mile in supporting us, head over to patreon.com/Byte That, where for as little as $1 you can get some awesome rewards for supporting us, and we've got goals like we're just less than $12 away from a 12-hour wrestling video game stream. We got some other sweet rewards, including us going full video YouTube every single week for the podcast. So hey, we're going to WrestleMania too. We're gonna have WrestleMania content during that time, so that's awesome. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week.